Well, good evening, you beautiful, what do we call them? Shipmates, shippers and crewmates.
Did you forget the intro to our own podcast?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry, I'm an old man topic. All right.
Oh, I know you're just back
Well,
from
good evening,
vacation, though,
crewmates,
so
aka shippers, and welcome to the Ship Podcast. Don't diss me. Don't shush.
There are no disses.
Today, I'm sitting here. What?
With your co-host,
What?
as you are every single
Oh.
episode. Click.
Oh,
Yeah,
with my
it's one
co-host.
topic. Wow.
Is it Os Media?
Thank you so much. Oh, is it Wonderstruck guy? I don't know. Could it be
Yeah,
Salty
but
Reddit?
Salty?
Who is it?
I think it's salt. Is it salty? I don't know. I can't see you.
God, I'm feeling pretty
Welcome,
salty right now.
Topicky Wapicky.
Yeah, no one can see us.
Yeah, we're taking it a bit light-hearted now and just doing the audio thing. So you can just sit back, relax, put this in your headphones and do something, work out, go for a nice walk, or just pretend you're listening to your annoying aunt talk about something, but you're not really listening.
No, I'm really glad. We've switched most of our video content and stream content to being face cam oriented. So it's kind of nice to be able to
Yes.
sit back and just kind of relax with some content where we're just talking to a microphone, where I don't have to professionally wear
This-
pants.
Indeed, I am not dressed for camera right now.
Neither am
I
I.
can
Oh,
tell
good
you that
luck.
much. Yes, I was like, I texted you right before this, and I said like, we are doing no camera, right?
And I'm glad that we both are on the same page because I told you earlier, but I guess we haven't told the podcast audience. I slept walked, which is not something I normally do. But I ended up not
yeah.
in my bedroom. And when you texted me, I woke up in a different room being like, how the heck did I get here? Oh, we should
Wait,
start the
what?
podcast. I don't need to get dressed, so let's just do this. So I'm over here
Did you
in my,
did you
my
seriously
PJs.
did you go to your workstation and fall asleep there?
So the podcast. I'm really glad that you're back from your
Okay.
vacation. So you've had some time to
Very
disconnect.
healthy.
I've had some time as well to focus on other projects as well. It's been really good getting a little bit of headspace for ourselves. I know that
Oh yeah, for sure.
we're both constantly smashing our heads against different projects. It's hard to find time for everything, but this is one I've been really looking forward to
Yes.
getting back to. I really like our podcast.
It's a nice chill hangout. It's a different change of pace. That's what I like about it, and it's a place where we can dig into topics deeper than we do anywhere else. I would say we get some of that stuff during our streams when we sit and do just chatting. We answer questions, but it's not the same depth. It's more of an interaction rather than us just like, hey, now we're gonna talk about what we find interesting for 2 hours. No.
2 hours. Oh my god! I don't think today's episode's
No.
going to be 2 hours. Sponsored
not
by
really, not
Rake.
really.
No, I'm kidding.
Speaking of today's episode, what are we talking about today? Topic.
Today, I wanted to focus a little bit on what we've been actually working on, which is Twitch. It's something that you've recently got into the last few months. It's something that I've been doing for about a year now, but I've only really started pushing to a wider audience about in the last few months as well, roughly when we got you to start as well. Salty's been jumping on board, Wonderstruck guys on there, Oz and Illuminati, the whole Milkman crew is on there now. And
Yeah, we managed to get him. It was like you started, and then I came in, and then was just a snowball of the rest of the milkmen.
yeah, I think I was going for like 9 months or so, and then I got you in. That was kind of a thing. Like we were spending so much time on different projects, it was really difficult to show you the value in that one-on-one connection with the audience, only because of the time sink that's involved.
Yes.
Because you have to set up all the software, you have to set up the programs, you have to set up the keys, the phrases, the blocked words, every little minor thing that people might not think of when they're looking at a streamer. They just go, oh, they turn on the camera and they start gaming. There's so many other things that go into it. And then
Oh yeah, the setup process is time, but it's like with any project, it's the same thing when recently I started doing face cam videos for YouTube. It's a whole different setup. You have to make sure you have the camera that actually works. You have to make sure you have somewhere to put the camera, a decent background to make sure that where you have this background is still good enough for the audio so you don't sacrifice one quality of the video for another. And the same thing goes with streaming. It's easy once you're up and running. Well, I say easy like in quotation marks, but once you have everything up running and you know how it works, it's like, yeah, I can turn on the stream kind of spontaneously, do a decently entertaining stream for a couple hours, and then just turn it off. But the startup, that took a lot of time.
But as soon as you did your first one, I mean, did you play your guitar in the first one? I think you did. You were definitely like talking to people, hanging out. You might have played,
Yeah, I think when I played the
Sky-Free.
guitar was actually a YouTube stream. It was
Skyrim?
before I had set up my Twitch stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, you did start over there. That was fun.
Uh-huh. It was total chaos. God, my moderators hated me for
Yes,
that.
I know.
Because I had no idea how to set up streaming, right? So
There's
my
no slow chat
blacklisted
mode.
words. No, the blacklisted words were very limited. I had maybe added a dozen of the worst ones. And there was no slow mode. So the chat, I had like 1,000 live viewers first time I streamed on YouTube.
Oh, maybe let's
Which is- I
explain
don't
what a blacklisted word is.
Yes, blacklisted words are auto-filtered words. So, for example, if there is a naughty word you don't want showing up in chat at all, and you want it to be auto-moderated, I can think of a few. N-word, for example, is one of them. Then those messages containing that word just gets auto-blocked, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have much of that set up at the time, and I didn't have slow mode. And then I had 1,000 people in the chat going all hyper and just spamming.
Sorry,
And I
that was my
remember
alarm.
moderators were...
That was my alarm
Oh.
to start the podcast.
Good morning.
So we're officially starting the
morning.
podcast.
Wow, okay. Welcome, crewmates, a.k.a. shippers.
Yay! Clap sync.
Yes, clapstick. But no, so the switch to Twitch was very much fun to build up, honestly. It's the project over the past couple of months that I've seen the most. It's not even about like seeing a project grow, although that is fun because you're doing something right. It's more like a confirmation. But it's
like
also the
the-
live interaction.
It's like the meme, numbers go burr. Like that's only cool for so long. I really prefer just
Yes.
like seeing the regulars jump into the chat, being able to hang out with everyone, and it's kind of that interaction that we had through a lot of the podcast episodes, where we'd spend so much time on each episode, make sure it's crafted well, edited, put it out there, review the comments because we knew a much smaller crowd was going to be going to them.
And we also did them as premieres, so we did
Yes.
have the live chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose what Twitch did is actually replace some chunk of the podcast that we used to have on here,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just too inefficient in the end. Like we still have the podcast. Obviously, we're sitting here and we'd still love doing it, but we needed to switch around some things because at the end of the day, first recording the episode, we're first discussing the topic a bit beforehand, then setting up for the video, recording the video for like 1 hour, an hour and a half, recording the bonus episode for Patreon.
Yep.
After that, we would edit it, review it a couple of times, then watch it again with the audience during the premiere. It was like the amount of hours per episode was insane.
Roughly, it was 15 a week per person. So it's
Yeah.
quite a bit
Yes.
of work that goes into a podcast. But a lot of the fun
Yes.
aspects. I know if we kept smashing our head against a project every single week that we felt like was taking away some of the fun from other projects, this podcast would have lost its magic. But I really like that we were able to take a
yeah.
step back and realize, what do we like, what's working, and how do we still make this fun? And one of the big things was, let's just take a break. Let's just take a step back. We'll walk away for a little bit. We'll come back fresh-headed. You went traveling.
Yes.
I worked on videos, so I had my own kind of break.
Well,
I slept.
traveling. I went out to the country house with a couple of friends and drank beer for 4 days.
Oh, that sounded so nice, though. I'm so envious. I can't wait until I can get to
It's
Sweden.
awesome. Oh, it's amazing, especially during the summer. Yeah, I'm gonna bring the Sad Milk Gang out in the Swedish.
Oh,
we could
yeah.
probably go at some point.
And we can do some Twitch
Yes.
streams out in Sweden. Just like out in the woods.
forest. Hello, welcome to the Sad Milk Twitch stream. We don't know where we are. Help!
Do I turn left or
If
do I
someone
turn
can,
right?
If someone can look at the trees around us, if someone can benevolently dox us, that would be great.
Help us be found. I meant more like we could play card games on stream, but yeah, your idea works too.
Oh yeah, just get lost in the woods and it would be fun to do something like that though. Imagine, for example, streaming inside. What's it called? Mystery room. No, it's called something like that.
A mystery room.
I lost the
Like a
name, but
chamber?
you're a group of
A
friends.
dungeon?
And-
A closet?
No, not really. You're a group of friends that go into a room, and it's a game, and you're supposed to solve
Oh,
puzzles and stuff to get out. What's that called?
Mystery room.
Wow, nice.
No,
but
hang on.
it's called
It's a escape room. Escape room.
Escape room.
Yes,
Yes, that's the one.
there it is.
It would be so fun to do an escape room on stream and let like the chat
Oh.
help interact with the questions and
Yes.
stuff. That would be really cool.
Oh,
That would be cool.
that'd be great advertisement for a place too. I wonder if they'd be into
Uh-huh,
that.
it would. Oh, that would be cool. Like, hey, just call them up. Like, hey, can we get like we're famous influencers.
You haven't heard of me?
Oh my
The
god, I'm the
audacity.
real topicky wopicky.
Oh, good. Okay, what would be worse? If they didn't recognize us or if they did?
Oh, yikes.
I think it'd
I
be
don't
worse
know.
if they did. I hope that no one ever recognizes me. That's my.
Oh,
That's
it
my
would be
thought.
even worse if they recognized us,
Mm.
but they already didn't like us. We'd be like,
Oh,
yeah, I'm the click on YouTube. Like, oh yeah, I know you. It's like,
you make the
Oh.
oohs. Hi, I'm
Like,
on
yeah,
topic.
you-
You'd make rainbows, and I hate color. It's like, aw.
exactly. It's like, I'm colorblind. Your
Oh.
content is offensive.
I like that we can just, sit around, jam a little bit in our conversation, and already come up with some new Twitch stream ideas. It's really fun
awesome.
that I mean, you and I often talk about this, how we're like opposite sides of the same coin, where we have very different but similar ideas. And that's
Yeah,
been
same. The energy goes in the same direction, kind of, but it's
Mhm.
dark and light.
And that's made some of our collab streams really fun because we approach them so differently.
Yes.
I know when I'm doing a stream, for example, I really like chatting with people, hanging out. I'll Google random pictures and just kind of vibe with the chat. You, on the other hand, put like a little bit of production into it, where you're putting on a show. You whip out your guitar, you start singing for people. You do your cursed Photoshop days, and that's
God,
that's
yeah.
really cool. And it seems like you're just coming up with ideas that you find fun, that you want to share with people, rather than trying to see like, oh, what works on Twitch. It just seems like,
Oh, yeah.
because those are very much your own crafted things. Like people aren't going out there to see just anyone play guitar on Twitch necessarily. They want to see you play. They're not seeing just anyone make weird photoshopped images of Oz Media. They want to see you Photoshop Oz Media. And we won't talk about what you did to me.
Oh, I'm planning. The next stream is going to be you too, because the ones I made the first time, they're so low quality. So, have you seen the cursed Photoshop I did lastly on myself?
I was told to look at it, but no, I haven't seen it.
All right, it's in my community tab, so you can check it out there if you want to.
They came to
But
my
it's
stream
basically
and
a-
told me to look at your Photoshop from your stream.
Yes, yes. It's a cursed Photoshop on me. It was a fan art that was a piece of vampire, which is very well done. I cursed the heck out of it, and the speech bubble said, "Oh, Nia, topiki wapiki sucky sucky."
Oh goodness!
Because
Was that
it's a
what it said?
vampire. Yeah, so next stream I'm gonna do you, and I'm gonna Photoshop your character, like how it reacts to it. Because I expect that character's like looking at you when you come into the room and like, oh, tapiki wapiki. And then you come in and like, oh, clicky wiki.
Well, I hate it. Great.
Thank you.
So
That's a good grade in my book.
So you're like Alucard, and I'm the vampire hunter. I gotcha. Okay.
I guess so. Yeah, you're the hunter because you're the needy one in this relation. Anyway, so moving on.
Very cool. So
No, what I...
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
No, what I
So
like about
anyways,
streaming
we're like-
is...
Oh,
Is
oh,
it,
no,
okay,
you wa-
oh.
okay.
Oh, right. So anyway, what I like
So what
about
about you?
streaming...
Oh, okay. No, you go. You
So
go
what I
ahead.
do like about streaming is the freedom. That's so cool because YouTube is very much the YouTube algorithm, for example. I love it in many ways. It's very, I wouldn't say easy, but compared to, for example, Twitch, it's easier to get discovered by a new audience. But what you need to do to accomplish that is to produce content that is relatively similar to the rest of your content, because then the algorithm will see the videos as, oh, this is something your audience is already interested to. A lot of people click on it. Must be a good video. Let's push that out and recommend it. So you're pretty much... YouTube is more limited in how wide you can be with your content on a singular channel. On Twitch, you can do pretty much whatever, as long as it's somewhat entertaining. I mean, I have done everything from playing the guitar to showing off images online to not so much watching videos together, but more like watching fan art and stuff, to playing video games, to just chatting, to photoshopping stuff. It's such a wide array of things. And I think that's one of my favorite things about Twitch. I can turn on the camera and just like, today I feel like photoshopping some weird images, and I just do it.
Yeah, we could spend like 10, 15 hours on a project on YouTube and be really happy with it. But then, regardless of what our audience thinks, like sometimes we look at the numbers and it's like, oh, this many people clicked on it. So YouTube should think it's a good video. It should send it out to more people. So they have the option of clicking on it too. But for whatever reason, it's a niche topic. It's a niche area. And it's just like, no, we're not going to show it to anyone. But on Twitch, it has that
Yeah.
nice discoverability where everyone who's interested in seeing you on Twitch can go see whatever you're up to. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what
It's
you're
a
doing
different-
sometimes.
No, but it's a completely different audience appeal. For example, on YouTube, a very large portion of your turnaround, so to say, when you consider it a business, that is from a very broad audience that are not necessarily super invested with you. That's your ability to make, a viral video, essentially. You have a very large circle of people watching you, but not everyone is super invested in specifically you. On Twitch, it's reversed. You don't necessarily have, thousands and thousands of live viewers. I mean, we typically average in the hundreds.
Yeah, a couple hundred or so. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a more close-knit circle.
Mhm.
You either have those few hundred that are super tight-knit and they will follow you anywhere and they create this awesome community around it, or you have the YouTube thing, which is awesome in its own way, but it's essentially more people, but the investment per person is typically lower, if that makes sense. So it's two different ways of spreading your content, essentially. But it was a different switch to make, and that's just one of the things I realized when I started doing both. Another thing I like doing because of Twitch is that it's less grindy. On YouTube, you record a video, and after the recording, when you turn everything off, it's not done. Then it's 6 or 7 hours of editing. After that, you upload it, hope that the review goes through, and that usually takes a day. And then you make thumbnails and titles, which, that can take an hour or something to, find the right one and tweak it and stuff. So it's a lot of hours that often span over a couple of days with a YouTube video. And sometimes, if YouTube doesn't like it, it gets stamped by, demonetized. You have to delete the video. You have to edit out whatever you think might be the inappropriate part, re-upload it again, wait another day. It's it's quite tedious.
Very
Twitch
tricky
doesn't
project.
have that. Yes, very rewarding. Very cool to see it grow the way it does. But yes, it's very demanding. Twitch is less so, and I wouldn't say it's that for all creators, because I think we have it easier on Twitch than a lot of people, because we already have YouTube established. So for us, the whole growth thing, for example, for Twitch, we don't really have that because we just push over our audience from YouTube.
It's so tricky to try to grow only on Twitch if you only have Twitch as your platform. Not because it's you have to be the most shocking or anything. Like on YouTube back in the day, you could do anything to be really clickbaity. People would then find you, and then they'd follow you to whatever projects you'd make, regardless of whatever kind of community you want to establish. But for example, if you want to have nice chill hangouts on Twitch, you're one of 20,000 actively live people, and once you're not live, all of a sudden people can't find you. There's no way for them to discover you. Whereas on YouTube, you do that clickable thing, you put it out there, people can find you weeks later with that same clip. There's no searchability on Twitch. One of the people I really like to follow is Harris Heller on YouTube. I would have never found him on Twitch, even though he's quite a big deal on there. He has regularly thousands of viewers on his streams. But on YouTube, I was able to find him because he had very educational material on how to get set up on Twitch, how to get started, different materials you can download, tips and recommendations. And one of the things he says is there's zero searchability on Twitch to find a specific niche group of individuals. But if you're looking for one person, you can do that quite easily on Twitch. But you only know to look for that one person if you can find them on other platforms. So you recommend setting up Twitter, for example, a way to connect with people. Show them a short segment of your stream, be live when you send out the tweet, and then people will want to hang out with you. But otherwise, it's so difficult. I remember in my first few weeks on Twitch, I didn't share it with anyone. I only had maybe 2 or 3 people in the streams, and I had, I think maybe 70,000 or so subscribers on YouTube. And then, only 4 or 5 people on a Twitch stream. And that's just kind of how it went for a little while. And then I made some small mentions in the Discords. I made some small mentions in videos. And, occasionally you'd start seeing 10, 20 people. But that's out of thousands and thousands of individuals that can otherwise find your content at any time through a very searchable system, which is YouTube. Then it filters down to just those who are super committed, who want to click over to another platform, who then want to sit in a live read of content.
No, it is very different. Subset. I think the only thing I've seen where Twitch channels get pushed only on Twitch is the small partner feed they have on the homepage, where you occasionally get a streamer that is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you get like a streamer with a couple hundred viewers recommended or something like that. Like that's the way I have seen it. So it is a small amount, but there's nothing compared to other platforms. It's nothing you. I would be surprised if people have grown their following solely from Twitch. I mean, even a lot of the big Twitch streamers you see, they have like highlight channels on YouTube, for example, big presence on Twitch and other social media. It's very rare that you see them only on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
While on YouTube, for example, you could quite easily do YouTube as a solo platform, even though I wouldn't recommend it because YouTube is also, it varies a lot over time, and it's better not to have all the eggs in one basket. But on YouTube, you can theoretically only have your YouTube channel and no other social media. But with Twitch, that's really difficult.
Potentially, yeah. The advantage that I have outside of the growth is just I like talking to people. I like hanging out with them. Whenever I have new people in my Twitch streams, for example, I always ask them to say hi and like tell me a little bit about themselves, so that way next time they're in, I can remember that. I have some of my favorites that have been in there since the beginning, but even people that show up one stream earlier, I'll be able to remember them and chat to them. If I'm reading through my comments on YouTube, I still have a few names that I'll recognize from the beginning days, some of them throughout time, but there's thousands of comments. And it's so hard to remember every single person. I can't read and respond to every single one anymore. And that makes me a little bit sad. I remember doing that. I remember reading every single one, responding to every single one, hearting, liking, making sure I had, good connection with people. But I couldn't measure what the value of that connection was until I had something live, like Twitch. That was the only space I could really see, wow, I can say hi to people. And I can see them react to it. Exactly. It's very back and forth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, YouTube, it's hard. It's more background noise in that sense. For example, on my videos now, I think the average is like a couple of thousand comments or something like that. And I mean, that's per video. It's impossible to read all of them. It's absolutely impossible. It's tens of thousands of comments every week. Mm-hmm. And even though our YouTube channels are not massive in any sense, it becomes a very large amount, and that's what Twitch is so good for, because then you can realize, instead of, how should I put it, when you've been sleeping for 8 hours, you have thousands of comments to catch up on.
Yes.
But on Twitch, you can say, hey, I'll schedule this, Q&A on Twitch, for example, if you want to do that, and for these 2 hours, I'll answer stuff that pops up in chat. And for those 2 hours, the people who are super invested, they can time that and hop into it. It's an easier way to give back to the people that are really invested in the community. Not dissing YouTube commenters at all, of course not, but it's a matter of time. Like the hours per day are not enough.
Well, the hours per day, because the comments aren't being brought to us. They just exist in a space that we then need to seek out, that we then need to filter through. But on Twitch, all of those comments are being brought to us directly because we're ready to receive them. They're also pushed to our attention because it's a live feed of comments rather than almost like homework that you have to go through.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I appreciate when I'm on Twitch, especially when you and I play games, because we get very invested. We're very competitive fellows, and I will win every time because I am a better gamer than you. But when I'm reading through...
Oh my God, sorry.
When I'm reading
think
through
I got some BS stuck in my throat.
Go
ahead.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So
yes.
That's okay. I'll let you have that one because I am okay
Yes.
with letting you win.
Letting me win. I say, yeah, sure. Letting. Wow.
That's great. But when we're collaborating, I really like that, as you said, the people that are invested in the community itself, not just in ourselves, like to come in and they chat with one another. That's been such a valuable part, where they're actually hanging out to have conversations with each other when I can't necessarily look over and read every single comment. That's just so lovely to see. And it also helps that when we're doing those streams, we can then decide, whose day can we brighten at the end of the stream? Who can we bring the community over to that we can share this positive space with? And we've met some amazing people through that. And we've definitely found some of our favorites to raid. Raiding is where we push out an audience from our stream to another stream at the very end. Essentially, it brings all the background viewers and everyone actively chatting to view someone else who's playing a game or just chatting or just hanging out on Twitch.
Yeah, there's a super cool way to support other creators, and it's a great way to tie bonds with people. like you said, we met some really cool people, and it's so rewarding because instead of just closing your stream, everybody goes home. It's like, by the way, for the people who are still interested in watching something, here's a cool person. Yeah.
Party's not over.
I
It's
like
just
that.
changing venues. Wow!
Oh my god, after party at their place.
After party, that's right. And sometimes there'll be like an after party. Like I know if you raid me
Yes.
and then I raid someone else, sometimes that person raids another person. It's like after. And some people stick it all the way through, and I find that amazing. I've only had a
Yeah,
couple
it's
bad
so cool.
experiences where I raid someone, they're like, "Oh, okay, so we're ending now." And it's like, "Wait, no, what? You were going
Yeah, I've had a
for
couple
not
of
that
times
long
too.
yet."
I think I raided someone at some point that was. I didn't see it at the time because I just checked in on their stream before raiding, like mute, because I was still streaming.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, this looks cool. They're playing Minecraft or something, and they seem friendly, and they have only had like 10 or 20 viewers. So let's raid over. And I sent over like 150 people to them,
Aw.
and apparently they were talking about some very heavy topics.
Oh,
Um,
shoot.
And when the raiders came, they were like, "Oh, hi, cooler raid." Anyway, about that super heavy and depressing topic, it's like, whoa, what the Jesus?
Oh shoot! What did I send
Um,
everyone over to? And that's kind of
exactly.
the
It's
tricky
like,
thing.
oh,
Like sometimes
yes.
you want to be really careful about what you bring your audience to. You want them to be
Yes.
excited about going to another space because you've taken the time to suss out people and make sure they're okay. It's an inherent risk every time. You never know exactly what people are going to be talking about, but you want to make sure you're sending
Yeah.
them to a nice space that you'd vibe with, for example. So we usually
Well,
do
yeah,
poke around
of
a little
course.
bit. We get some recommendations from the audience, and we always raid the Milkmen whenever they're online. We've got the Illuminati, we've got Oz Media. Well, Oz not yet on Twitch. Soon though, that'll be exciting.
Yeah. He's been appearing on our streams, but he hasn't streamed himself yet.
How many
We're
of us are
trying
on
to get
Twitch
him
now?
into it.
It's just Illuminati, you, myself, Wanderstruck,
It's all of us except
and,
Ozzy Wazzy.
and Salty, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I've rated. Oh, I haven't rated Blair yet. The Illuminati. I've rated everyone
Oh,
else.
me
I
neither.
think.
No, I try to raid people because for me it's pretty natural to raid
Mhm.
people because of the time zones. So usually I go to bed before everyone else stops streaming.
That's
So it's
right.
very- so I think I've raided like probably 10 times as much as I've been raided.
Yeah, it's
Just
like
because
just
of that
after
simple
lunchtime
fact.
for me, and you're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna end the stream." I'm like, "Oh, all right, I'm still good."
Yeah, it's like it's midnight here, But that's super good in one sense because it bumps up my my raid achievement on Twitch, which is something they look
That's
into.
right.
Yeah, when you're like negotiating partnerships and stuff with them, it's like, hey,
Oh, but
I
have you
raid a lot
rated
of people,
200 times?
support- Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know how far along I am in that. I'm sure a number of them, but what are some of the favorites that you've actually like stumbled across when raiding?
Oh, I would say Nami is definitely a favorite creator that I stumble upon.
Oh no,
He's
who's
a-
Nami?
Nami, I'm not sure if I can pronounce Nami Sari. Oh, what's the last name? I always botch the last name.
Okay,
Sarene.
and what do they make?
Sarene. Serene. Nami Serene. But very cool. He's a German guy, I think.
Okay.
But I didn't know he was German first because his English is so good. I thought he was. I would have guessed he was something like Canadian first, the first time I heard him speak.
Ah,
There's a
okay.
small
Yeah, that
small
weird
tonation
voice.
of British English,
Okay.
but otherwise it's like accentless. He recently started learning Swedish. That's really cool. So no, he's a super pleasant streamer, super friendly. First time I rated him, he was playing Skyrim, and it was super
Oh.
random. I had no idea who he was. And a couple of people in my chat were like, "Hey, you should raid this guy. He's online and he's super nice." So I sent over my people there, and I sat in that stream myself for like 2 hours because it was so pleasant. It was just like, this is
I've done that
awesome.
before
Like, this
too.
is an
I really
awesome
like
vibe.
that when we find someone
And
that we're-
he like let the chat name his pets in Skyrim. and
people
that
don't
kind of
realize
stuff.
this,
It was
but-
so cool.
even as creators, we like other creators. Like we like hanging out.
Yes.
And it's fun when they're putting on a good show. And that's kind of the tricky thing. Like when you're doing a live show, you have to be okay with you being the show. In the video,
Yes.
a lot of the humor, like in the videos we create on YouTube, a lot of the humor can come out in the edit. A lot of the humor can come out when we're working with editors or with the music or the images that are on screen. When it's Twitch,
Yes.
that's you. It's live. Like it's got to be good content the entire time. There's no break periods. There's unless like you physically take one, but
Yeah.
every moment that you're active, you have to be the show. And
Yes. Like when I compared it with Twitch and YouTube, for example, Twitch is more YouTube is more grindy in terms of hours, but
Mhm.
Twitch is more intense when you actually do it.
and so fun.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. But when you
But
stream on Twitch for 2 hours, that's 2 hours of you being the show actively.
exactly.
That's like you're being on stage, all the lights on you for 2 hours. That is a long time to be in the spotlight. I know a lot of streamers, they take less intense things where they, for example, play a game with their audience, and then, for example, they watch a video together or something like that as a break thing, which is a nice way to pace it out. I think we are incredibly intense when it comes to Twitch.
A little bit.
Because we are used to recording videos.
Yes,
we
that's
are
right.
we're used to turning on the mic, going bananas for 20 minutes, and then cutting it off. And we do the same thing for Twitch. And
But
I
do it
realized
for
after
2
2 hours of doing that, it's like, oh my god, I'm exhausted.
Sometimes I take a nap, and I'm not a nap taker. It's like years past. Don't call me an old man.
Yes.
I
You're
very rarely would have ever taken a nap. Sometimes like during my lunch break or something if I was working in fast food restaurants. But these days it's like, okay, I've just finished a stream. I've just hit disconnect. I am wiped. I need to lie down. Like I know I have other work to do, but my goodness, I am tired. And
No, I've started doing the same, honestly. It's amazing. And it's kind of a way of clearing your mind. It's kind of like restarting a computer and cleaning out the RAM memory. It's a similar thing.
yeah,
It's like,
turning it
okay,
off and on again.
yeah, and I've done that a lot of times. For example, when we stream, it's usually in the evening for me. So I remember one time we had a relatively late stream planned. I think it was a 12-hour stream.
Oh,
or no,
yeah.
because I dropped in late, I think. Or was it I dropped out early?
I think you dropped
one or
out
the other.
early, but only a few hours
Yeah,
early.
maybe that was the case.
Yeah, and then it was
But I do
Salty and I that
remember-
made it to the end.
Yes. There was some stream where I dropped in late simply because of the fact that I knew we were going to stream until like 12 or 1 a.m., but I was kind of tired, so I took like a 2-hour nap before we started streaming. And then I stayed up later instead and slept a bit less during the night. It's like, just to recharge.
But it's so worth it. But behind the scenes, it does take a lot of planning to figure out what
Oh, it
would
does.
make a good stream. At least it's more of like a 1-to-1 ratio for content creation. Every minute that you're live is a minute of content that you're creating, which is quite nice in comparison to a YouTube
Yeah.
video where it might be like an hour and a half per minute of produced footage.
Oh, yeah. That was a typical thing I used to get back in the day where it's like, well, how long does it take to create a 15-minute video? It's only 15 minutes long. Takes like 10 hours, fam.
At least.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you have to like find
Oh.
the content, make the content, edit the content, upload the content, make the thumbnails, make the titles, make the
Yeah.
tag, etc.
I think I think I tried to clock it at one point, and it was like finding content that can vary a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you just stumble upon something and you find all the content in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can sit and filter stuff and choose things for like 2 hours.
Yes.
Then you record it, which takes like setting up audio, fixing all that, sound checking, actual recording. Let's say it takes an hour. Then you edit the whole thing, which takes maybe, I would say, 6 or 7 hours for a typical video I do. Effective time, sometimes it takes more. But let's say 8 hours than average. And then I would say it probably takes another couple hours to upload it, fix titles, edit the thumbnail, fix, ad breaks,
Yeah.
maybe even re-review the video if it gets
Oh,
bonked
yeah.
the first time. So one video is like, I said 10 hours, but it's probably more. It's probably a lot of hours that I don't even consider in that equation.
Yeah, it's easy to just count the hours that you sit down and edit, but it's more difficult to count all the hours for prep and setup. But similar for Twitch, yeah.
Yes.
If we stream for 4 hours, we didn't think about all the time we communicated about what we were going to stream about, any tweets or comments on YouTube we're going to make about how to, what we're doing on what specific days, any promotionals that we're using, for example. I was trying to avoid
Yeah.
using the word promotional, but I guess that's what it is. But we're not really advertising
Kind of
it.
cross
I don't know.
promotion for ourselves, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. It's a weird thought. I don't know. It's not like, today's sponsor, me.
Yay! I paid
Yay.
myself.
But it kind of makes you recognize what you were like, what I was doing wrong in the early days of streaming. Wasn't necessarily that bad, but like I was streaming with no camera. I was usually just doing games, or I had it on a very flat screen where I'd then just be talking. And while that's fine, if someone was new to that and they didn't know the community that I was coming from or trying to bring with me, they'd just recognize that as I'm just making content for the sake of making content. And that's
Yeah.
sort of the worst position to be in, because neither one of us feel that way about anything we're working on. We're not just doing it to fill a void. We're doing it because we're passionate
No.
about it, because we want to connect with people. And on my side, I just want to make people happy. On your side, you just want to make people cringe, but
Oof, oof.
and happy cringe.
I'm cursing this world one step at a time,
There it is.
but or one topic at a time.
Oh no! It's happening now.
What a twist. No, but that's very true. You have to consider what you actually want to achieve with your content. And I remember that I tried to push out daily content for a while, both on YouTube and on Twitch. And after a while, I felt myself running dry on ideas very fast. I didn't even do it for a week before I started feeling dry.
Well, you
And
did
then
it
it
almost
was-
every single day. That was nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And then after a while, I felt like, well, I'm kind of starting to push it because I don't really have any new ideas. It's getting repetitive. And should the charm of the content really be how often it is released and not what actually is in it? If like
Exactly.
the most selling point your content has, it's every day. It's like, well, is it actually worth showing up for every day? It's like,
Every
maybe
day,
not
bro.
at that point. Oh God. Every day, bro, with that Twitch stream flow.
No. Oh, gosh. And we do have to balance the thought that while we might be bored of it, other people, it might be their first time experiencing that kind of content. So if it's our third time playing Raft that week, for some people, it's their first time diving in. For other people, it is their third time attending Raft that week, and they might get a little bit bored. So it's this balance that we have to make of what are we going to find boring, and then what is the audience going to find boring, and always keeping other people in mind and making them kind of the priority, because we don't want to only do stuff that we find fun all the time.
Is it two-way street essentially? Because
Exactly.
you
Very
want to consider
reciprocal.
what the audience finds entertaining, but you have to find it entertaining yourself to some extent. Otherwise, the stream will be boring. So, I would say, yeah, a perfect balance is to cross those two over. Because if I only did things I would find entertaining and nothing else, the stream would be incredibly boring. I would probably not even bother to have a face cam most of the time because I'm lazy. I'm just going to play a game and add some minimal commentary because this game is kind of lit, yo.
Wow, this
is but that's-
Skyrim, and I have a sword. Okay. And then just
Stabby wabby.
I just
whoa.
walk.
Yeah. So you need to put that effort and find a combination where, well, I'm playing Skyrim, which I find is awesome, but there's also face cam, there's a chat interaction, and there's all this stuff that goes back and forth between the audience and the streamer. So even though I'm doing something I love, which is both interacting with people and playing that specific game, you need to put on the show around what you think is fun. You can't do something only because you think it's fun. At least not if you want to make it into actual content and actually going for it as a job, I guess. Not going to tell people what they can and can't do for hobbies for sure, but if you're serious about pushing it, that's pretty much the only way to go about it, really.
It's such a tricky conversation to have because it's, we do it very much as a passion outlet, but other people do
Yes.
want to make streaming their career. They want to make it their job. But every time someone donates to us, we're always like, hey, fam, you don't need to. It's okay.
Yeah.
But other people, it's like, yes, that's my goal for the day. I really want to hit this target. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily because, people want to be that show person all the time. They want to have that personality turned on 5 hours a day, put that live content out there, and then step back and step away. Whereas for us, it's almost like a break that we're having. Like we do our content, which is the YouTube stuff. Then we take a break with Twitch. We just kind of hang out and vibe.
Yeah.
So while we're doing it kind of like for fun, almost, we still approach it as a job in terms of discipline. So
Yes, indeed.
while we're not necessarily making the Twitch a career, because I feel awkward asking anyone for money, but
No, but it's still professional.
But yes,
in
you
that
still have to be
sense. Like
professional.
we don't, for example, go into controversial stuff on stream.
No, there's
we
no point.
we don't joke about things that we know could make people uncomfortable. Like for example, I would never deny that I joke about inappropriate things, but there's a time and a place. And I mean, I'm not even.
You
referring
always
to
make
YouTube.
me uncomfortable.
Yes, I know. That's the show.
But that's on me. That's on me.
But, I think everyone jokes about things with friends in private, behind closed doors.
Yes.
But there is a difference between what you put online and what you joke about behind closed doors. And that's something that, that goes for most workplaces. And I think
Yes.
even though this is a passion and something we grew into naturally, that's one way we treat it. For example, we would never bring in those kind of jokes or that kind of behavior into the stream. It's also because we don't know people. If I made a crude joke with a couple of my oldest friends, they would know it's a joke because, we have that understanding. We've known each other for a long time. Nobody takes it seriously. But if I do it on stream, it's like, oh, there's like a couple of hundred people that may not know I'm actually joking. It's like, oh, yikes, this got very awkward. There is a time and a place, and even though it's a passion, if you want to be an entertainer, it's important to realize that.
On a good example, if people aren't quite conceptualizing what we're talking about there with like what kind of jokes would be appropriate on and off stream. As an example, when I'm frustrated, I'll tell you, Click, I'm going to delete my YouTube channel, which is
exactly.
It's funny between us. But if we were to do it in a live stream, some people would be like, "Oh my, no, please don't."
Exactly.
Like,
yikes, are you really taking it that hard? No,
Exactly.
we do that sometimes. Oh, today's video got demonetized. Career over, delete channel, move on. It's like, because we know it's a joke, because it's more like I'm frustrated.
Yes,
but
it's
we
a
know,
great
of
way
course,
to vent briefly and then move on. But for other people, that might be their only interaction with us today. And that's not a vent. That's like us communicating to them that we might actually leave them alone, like forever. And that's not...
I'm going to detonate my channel. It's like, well, what the... what? No.
And that's not something you ever want to do. You don't want to bring... you don't want to bring your problems into a stream necessarily.
No.
Not if it's not consequential. And like you said, like if we get one video demonetized, that's not going to ruin our YouTube channel. It'll ruin our day,
of course,
for a little bit, but
yeah, of course, it's going to suck because that those 12 hours you spent on that video, well, that was for free, and not to mention nobody's going to see it because it's going to be suppressed. It's like,
that's
wow,
right.
Cheers.
Yeah, thanks YouTube. Very cool.
Yeah, there are not a lot. Even though YouTube is amazing, I mean, it's the best job I've ever had.
Yes.
I know very few other jobs where after a work day, you don't know if you're going to get paid for that day or not.
Even though you've produced the exact same amount of work product.
Yes. Yes. That's like, well, let's see if your work today was monetized or not. It's like, what?
And sometimes you find out like the next day, not even the same day. It's just like,
exactly.
That's too late for
or
me
maybe
to do
even
anything.
several days later.
Yes, that's true too. They can rake it back.
Yes. Like,
But
well,
at least
that Monday you spent and worked until midnight. Yeah, that was nope. Okay.
I know more than a handful of streams that I've done where I'm jumping on there because I've had a video demonetized, because I've had a bad day, and I'm like, you know what? I need that pick me up. I need to connect with the people that I really care about.
Oh, same here.
Let me just jump on Twitch here, just kind of hang out and have fun. Let's play some games. Let's do something stupid. And then every single one of those streams without fail have always picked me up. Every single time.
Yeah, but they do. It's such a nice interaction. It's something to get your mind off of that. And for me, it's very easy to focus on the bad in the moment. I have this video demonetized now, so that's like the focus on my day. Like, oh, my life is demonetized. But then you hop on
fridge is
stream
full
and
of
you realize,
demonetized.
well, exactly. But then it's like I hop on stream and I realize, well, life is broader. My whole career as a creator is broader than this one video. And you also get to interact with awesome people while doing that. Mm-hmm. And that's a really good pick-me-up.
I was just invited by someone who watches my videos last night to go to Australia.
Oh.
And I know you're listening to the podcast right now.
Oh, I think I know who this might be.
Oh, maybe, yeah. And they were mentioning, oh, yeah, well, you're kind of obligated. I already told my family you're going to come, so you just got to stay. And I'm like, I know your kids watch my stuff, but gosh darn it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, they're fun. They're so funny. But, like, it's that interaction where I never would have thought, oh, yeah, I'll take that in consideration. I'll actually take that seriously. Because that's an opportunity, like, to go to Australia that I would actually take up. I would say, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll come to Australia and I'll hang out with you and I'll stay with you. That's no problem. In no other job could I have looked at that and been like, yeah, I should do that.
Yeah.
Like when I was working fast food and someone invited me over to Texas, I'd be like, that's
kind of weird. Well, it's a whole different thing with this. It's a whole different personal connection.
Exactly.
And I love that. I love that.
That nice community aspect. It really makes all of the bad hours worthwhile, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
it really does.
All that time that you could look at another job and see it as wasted time. Like, what if a boss handed you a stack of papers and said, fill out these papers, you fill them out, and then he's like, you were actually supposed to fill them out differently. Now you got to do it over. We don't have that similar kind of wasted time. We have wasted time where we, like you said, we put out a video that doesn't, the YouTube decides isn't worth showing anyone. So it's like, we don't have that investment. But we still have everyone that's seeking out our materials are still able to go and watch that video. It's not gone. It's not work product that was just thrown out. It's still out there for people to connect with.
Yes.
So while things don't fly necessarily sometimes, it's not like it's gone. It's not worthless. And that's
Oh no, of course
phenomenal
not.
to me. I love that so much that even when it's a bad day, it's not as bad as bad days can be bad.
No, no, it really isn't. And it's also, I would say, both yes and no. Like in the way we describe it, for example, and I think that also has to do with the fact that we have removed all our eggs from the one basket.
Mm.
So we have Twitch, we have Twitter, we have Sad Milk, we have our own channels, etc., etc.
Hmm.
So it doesn't hurt as much anymore to get something bad happening on one place. On the other hand, that's one of the things that feels the more risky with this kind of business, but I guess that goes for any entrepreneurial business. For example, at a regular day job, if you were doing really well, you could look forward to that pay raise, in maybe 6 months or a year. On YouTube, if you do really well, you see that pay raise this week. But on the other hand, if you have a bad week at your regular day job, you don't really notice it.
You don't really
In
lose
like your
the money, yeah.
no, it's like if you do a really bad job consistently for a long time, you might get a problematic meeting with your boss in a few months, and then maybe fired
Conversation
next
down the line.
year.
You have a lot of opportunities
Exactly.
to fix things before it gets bad.
Exactly. On YouTube, it's like if all your videos suddenly start
Instant.
doing really poorly, that's your next month's salary gone, right there. It's like, whoa, okay, wow, ouch. So YouTube has that great potential, but it also has that
Huge risk.
yes. And I guess that goes for any entrepreneurial business. It's risk versus reward.
Hmm.
It's a fine line to walk because it means a decent amount of stress, and it also means that, for example, one thing that I realized is that I barely spend anything I make on YouTube because I am very realistic with the fact that I don't know how long it lasts. Maybe YouTube implements a new rule and I can't make money off of YouTube anymore, and I have to slowly
Yes.
switch over to Twitch, for example, and that's going to be a few months of like really, really poor income. So I like pile everything for rainy days.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, you
'cause
don't
I
spend
realized
anything. You
that
eat
is-
like a lot of rice. You eat like a lot of really simple foods. A lot
Oh,
of
I
like,
live
you
pretty
make
much the
everything
same
at home.
life. Yeah, I mean, apart from the occasional expense, I live a very similar life to when I did when I was a student.
Hmm.
It's very similar. I haven't really changed my eating habits a lot. I don't go to expensive restaurants. I don't own a car. It's like because it's not really necessary where I live. I have a
Yes.
nice bike instead. And so in that sense, I don't know. It's a give and take. Everything in life is.
I'd love to.
While the potential is,
I'd love to do
yeah.
a full
Oh,
sit
go ahead.
down and like just discuss, maybe like running a business, and
Yes.
what exactly it takes to go into there. I like that we're touching on it in this one, where we're talking about Twitch because it's such a fun passion project that you can get lost in either one of two directions. One being you put all of your eggs in it being a passion project. One being you put all your eggs in it being a business project. If you approach it as a business, it's very awkward because you're saying, we'll become the $5 a month individual, that meme on the internet a while ago, where it's like, it's only $5 a month. I encourage people not to donate. I'm like, no, fam, like it's free. It's literally free. Just hang out.
Yeah.
Because it's just a passion thing for me. I'm lucky that I can approach it as a passion. Like you said, if something happened to YouTube, we might actually have to take Twitch more seriously and say, hey, everyone, we're switching over here. This is now the business. Please save us.
Yeah,
But-
exactly. But then you also need the margins to be able to make that switch, because that would
Mhm.
mean like at least a few months of downtime business wise. So if you want
Yes.
to keep doing this as a passion, you have to save a buffer yourself, because you don't have that insurance of a job. I mean, at my old job, for example, I think if they really wanted to fire me, which they wouldn't do out of nowhere. I mean, I would have to be problematic for like a year before they actually fired me.
Mhm.
But even if they did fire me on the spot, I would still have 2 months until my actual last day.
Mhm.
On YouTube, you don't have that. If YouTube decides your channel is bad, you're yeeted that day, that minute. It's like poof, gone. Like what happened to me last Christmas.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a common theme for years to come. You
Uh-huh.
don't really get over that though. Like that's how quick it can
No.
be. It's just all of a
It's
sudden
like- and it's
overnight gone.
And it's almost, for me, it's not like, I don't want to use too strong words because it's really not the same, but it's almost like a mini PTSD, but for like entrepreneurial stuff.
It's an incredibly
Just-
stressful situation that you went through. No, I post-traumatic
Yes.
stress, that I think that would cover it. To what degree, I'm
'cause
not
it was-
sure, but that is.
It was also
like,
the timing, because it was
everything.
just a week after I handed in the papers for my day job when I decided to go YouTube full time, and it was during Christmas, so everything was just wrong about the timing. And that could have been career ending right there. So
It kind of was for a little bit until,
Yeah.
like there was no confirmation as to whether it was career ending. And that's part of what made it so tricky, was because we
Yeah,
didn't
'cause I
know
was
if
in
it was
limbo.
gone forever, because it shouldn't have been. But we also didn't know if we could get everything back, because,
Yes.
it's impossible to talk to a human over at YouTube.
It is. It is. No, it wasn't really. It was a limbo, basically. It's like I have this wall where I just get automated emails, and my entire business is gone overnight. It's like, what? Wait, what?
What are
That was
some,
interesting.
what do you think are some tips people could use to keep Twitch being fun, even if they do want to approach it as like a business project? What are like the main passion points that you see yourself injecting almost unconsciously to make things fun?
Huh. I would say engagement is one of them. For
Mhm.
example, when I do cursed Photoshop, I always look at, I occasionally ask chat like, okay, what do you want to add to this picture? And, I have a bunch of people throwing in the chat like cat ears, or, make the nose bigger, or add a potato for the nose, or, whatever. That's one really good way. The other way is have a certain intensity of whatever it is you do. And that has to do with charisma. And it's really hard to just give as a tip. It's something you need to find in yourself. And I have a bit of a cheating thing there because I used to do Let's Play, so I'm very used to being on camera. But it's that live interaction. For example, when someone goes up on stage and you realize as soon as they start speaking, everyone else goes silent because everyone wants to hear what they have to say. Not necessarily maybe because it's like super duper revolutionary content they're speaking, but because they have that presence, they have that connection, and that's what you want. That's like one of the key things. And how to stay passionate about it, I would say you need to find a middle ground where you can do something entertaining that you still love, which is one of the most challenging thing about creative work. It's essentially, how do you monetize a passion? That's what that is at the end of the line.
Well, I remember in
Which
our
is
circle
something-
recently we talked a little bit of, like, kind of how that parallels is, if someone is working on content for another creator, it's hard to want to monetize that. You'd say, oh, I want to work for free, or I'll take $5. But really you're producing content that could be worth much more than that. So it's recognizing
Yes.
your value and your worth and setting, targets appropriately as well. My probably day one advice would be learn how to talk to yourself. It would be, if you're setting up the camera, start talking to the characters in the game. If you want to have like great materials as to what to look back on, to what can inspire you, it would be PewDiePie talking to Stefano in the games when he's doing the
that's
Let's
good.
Plays,
Yeah.
where there's no one to interact with, so he's just creating the interaction himself.
He's
if
just
you-
making voices, going all
Yes.
schizo.
Oh,
The same
how's it
thing I
going,
do with my
kids?
Click Kitty.
Oh god, the kitty. Oh god. Ugh. That's an amazing plushie and an amazing character. And whoever created a little fan art video of you, that was so cool.
I loved
The
it.
clips
Oh,
of
I
your
loved it.
yeah. On my side, I was very much talking to everything that was happening. Like, I was playing Minecraft, and I hadn't played Minecraft before. I was doing it on stream pretty much for the first time, and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, look out, Mr. Zombie. Oh, no, 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 no. And, then I'd look over at
Yeah.
chat, and I'd be like, oh, hey, how's it going? And then I go back to talking to the game. Because you want to make sure that people are there to have a good time because you're having a good time. And you don't
Yes.
want to have a good time because the chat's bringing that energy. Because
No.
it's not their job to make you have fun. It's your job to bring that fun to them.
Exactly. You should be, when you are a creator, this goes for both YouTube and Twitch, you should be the center of gravity. People can join in on that fun. People can, for example, like I said, they can come with tips for what we should add in the Photoshop. That's a really straightforward example. But it's not the chat that is doing the Photoshop. They are not the ones holding the strings. They are not the ones producing something for me to react to. I think that's the difference in... that's a very big difference in content that you learn over time. It's not necessarily... You don't have to be the whole show, but you need to be the center of gravity.
Mm-hmm. I really like Twitch. I really like YouTube.
I do.
I really like this podcast. I'm glad that we were able to sit down
Aw.
and get something recorded today, Click. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was nice. It was pleasant,
Yeah.
and we got to talk about our newfound Twitch passion.
Dude, I love Twitch. I can't wait to talk about this podcast on Twitch.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've covered,
awesome.
gosh, like a lot of different points today that I really was hoping we were going to touch on. You know, what makes a Twitch
And we
stream
didn't
good.
accidentally dox ourselves in this video. That's also a good thing.
Oh yeah, didn't you know I live in?
Exactly. I remember last week when I went out of my house on the address beep beep beep. It's like,
No, this is fun. Let's get out of here. Let's go play some games. Let's do something.
yes. I hope all you crewmates, aka shippers, had a awesome listen to this podcast. And make sure to check out our Twitches if you haven't already been there. And other than that, we will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. He loves it. Trust me.
Stop it.